In our last video we have seen functional programming, which is not a programming syntax, which is a programming paradigm, where we have discussed something about the pure functions, and it is one of the core concepts of functional programming. In this video, let's discuss in detail about the pure functions. What are the advantages we get if we go with pure functions in your program. So let's take for example, which we discussed. There is a global variable, there is a sum or add you want to do, which gives a return value, and what you're doing is you will add, for example, no, it will not return also. So it plays all with the global variables. Let's say I have global variable also, where I'm taking two values. Now if I see total is equal to a plus b. Now if you can see that this is an imperative approach, this is solving our requirement, where we have two values which are global values a and b. It is and a global value called total also. It is solving our purpose, where it is calculating a plus b and giving it to total. Now total is having the value of two variables, but this is like a global function. It's not a function that this add function is a global function. This is not a function that we can reuse, or we can test it properly, or we cannot use that in the multi-threaded environment. Where why? Because it is having full of mutability. If we can see that it is changing the value of total, if a and b changes, total changes. So obviously it's not thread safe. So this we call it as imperative programming. We already discussed it, which is not advisable, because it is what we are doing is here step by step we are telling the program how to do it instead of what to do. Whereas in the functional programming language, we go with the pure function. If you can see, I have written a couple of examples. These pure functions return values that depend solely on its parameters. For example, sum, it doesn't access any outside variables like singletons, non-local, any global variables like singletons or non-local variables, or any other input values. It just takes the parameters and does the return values. If you sort, it takes an array of strings, it returns the sorted strings. Max value in an array of integers, it returns the max value. Minimum value in an array of integers, it returns the minimum values. If you can look at it, these are very independent pieces of code, and they solve our purpose, and these are very easily testable. For example, if I need to test this sum, I can write different combinations, and I can execute a test suite, and I can see whether this function is working fine or not. Why? Because it is independent of any global variables, and obviously it does not produce any side effect. It returns only a value without mutating and state outside of its scope. And these pure functions always produce the same result for the same input. If you provide an input, it produces the output. Any number of times you provide the same input, it produces the same output. That makes it straightforward, and these are easier to read and understand. When reading a piece of code uses a pure function, you don't need to worry about its internal implementation. All you need to worry about what it does. For example, if I give these set of functions to anyone, so they can simply see that, okay, this is for sum, sort, max value and minimum value, and they literally don't need to worry about what inside it is doing. They pure functions, they simplify concurrency, since they do not access any shared resources or outside global variables or any conditions. So there is no possibility of race conditions and deadlocks, and there is no mutation also happening inside. So if you're writing something in our program, if you can split everything into pure function, and if we can go for the functional programming paradigm, it's very easy for us, and it's very easy for other developers also, and it's very easy to reuse the code, and it's very safe for multi-threaded environment. I hope this post is useful. Thank you.